On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I tell you what, I'm in the best line of work there is possibly because every single day there is definitely new things to talk about. Wow. This triune here, this trifecta, this trinity, they are doing their damnedest to destroy this country, and they're doing it in a weird kind of divide and conquer sort of method. It's kind of interesting how this is all playing out. A lot is happening. A lot of corruption's being exposed, major happenings down in Central America in an election that, frankly, is being stolen. Deep State's totally involved. And oddly, they use the same voting machines that we use, the electronic ones. I think Dominion might be the company that provides them. We'll see when we get to that story. Isn't that interesting? A lot of strange little quinky-dinks kind of happening right now. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. We're going to get started right here. Got many, many, many things to talk about. Now, this story is interesting to me because it illustrates kind of this larger problem that exists right now. A lot of people see the propaganda that's happening and kind of worry about what it's doing to those that are still asleep. But what it is doing to those that are starting to awaken is what's kind of missed. This propaganda, especially when it's overly done like it's being done right now, like just hardcore being done right now, when it happens like that, the people that are starting to wake up, it actually pushes them over the edge faster because they're being hit with it so much, so often, and they're starting to jar loose a little, and they're like, what is that song in the background? You know how like the alarm clock goes off back in the days when we used to have alarm clocks that played music, right? For me anyways, I'd have to do the beep, beep, beep thing because if I was especially waking up early to like go work at the coffee shop or something, literally if I put music on the alarm clock, I'd just start dreaming something and it would have background music. And it would be the song on the alarm clock. Sucked hard. So it never woke me up. Meet. Actually does sort of annoy the hell out of you and jumps you into your body. That's kind of what their propaganda is doing. Needless to say, Daily Caller came out. New York Magazine has released its latest cover. Right? New York, Camelot. She's sitting on top of what looks like a giant coconut. I'm not even going to... I guess her Jamaican heritage, maybe. Weird. Still, and then they've got your Brocs and everybody else. Yeah, hey, dancing down below. Sure. All right. Hey, cool. This is what they're doing. Elon Musk points out the legacy media engages in mass synchronization of emotion for political purposes. They are a de facto arm of the DNC, and they are. This is also something that people have to come to terms with. I am still baffled. It blows my mind how often I see people in where all the stuff I post or see that I read, let's put it that way, how many of those people are actually shocked that the media is doing what they're doing. I'm like, why are you surprised at all? It's very bizarre to me. Now, this dude is our good friend, Carlo Maria Vigano, the guy that recently has been defrocked, I think, or whatever it is when they debishop you, and he was speaking out against the Catholic Church. Well, now he's speaking out very much against what happened in Paris. We're in a couple of two key parts. I just want to read the first paragraph because it kind of gives you a feel for where he's sort of going with it. And I want to read like the killer part. The opening ceremony of the Paris Olympic Games is only the latest in a long series of vile attacks on God, the Catholic religion, and natural morality by the anti-Christic elite that holds Western countries hostage. We had seen no less disconcerting scenes at the 2017 London Olympics, the 2016 inauguration of the Gothard Tunnel, and the 2022 Commonwealth Games, featuring infernal figures, goats, and terrifying animals. The elites who organize these ceremonies demand not only the right to blasphemy and to the obscene display of the foulest vices, but even their mute acceptance by Catholics and decent people, who are forced to suffer the outrage of seeing the most sacred symbols of their faith and the very foundations of the natural law desecrated. I'll keep going. We'll do this 3 paragraphs. We witnessed a dystopian dance macabre, which holograms of a horseman of the apocalypse alternated with a plump blue Dionysus served under a bell of various courses, the parody of the LGBTQ plus Last Supper, the truculent performance of the decapitated, Marie Antoinette, singing Ka Ira, I'm probably saying that wrong, called to celebrate the horrors of the French Revolution. The ballets of bearded transvestites and effeminate dancers, accompanied by pitiful meme singers, and the provocative spectacle, Satan knows how to do nothing except ruin God's creative perfection, showing himself as the envious author of every counterfeit. Satan creates nothing. This is the most important part for all of us to remember. Dark creates nothing. They can only destroy. That's all they can do. So it's not hard to see they can't continue to go the way they're going because they will destroy everything, and that is what they're trying to do. And you can also very easily figure out who's who. Are they trying to desecrate, or are they trying to bring forward a new thought? But he's 100% right. So Satan creates nothing. He only ruins everything. He does not invent, he tampers. And his followers are no different. They humiliate women's femininity in order to erase the motherhood that recalls the Virgin Mother. They castrate man's manhood in order to tear from him the image of God's fatherhood. They corrupt the little ones in order to kill innocence in them and make them victims of the most abject wokeism. The opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games have given scandal, not only because of the arrogant display of the ugly and obscene, but because of the infernal subversion of good and evil. The insane claim to blasphemy and desecrate everything, even what is most sacred, in the name of an ideology of death, ugliness, and lies that defies Christ and scandalizes those who recognize him as Lord and God. It is no coincidence that the one sponsoring this revolting carnival is an emissary of the World Economic Forum, Emmanuel Macron, who passes off a transvestite as his own wife with impunity, just as Barack Obama is accompanied by a muscular man in a wig. It is the reign of mystification, of falsehood, of fiction erected as a totem, in which man is disfigured precisely because he was created in the image and likeness of God. Beautiful words from this guy. Beautiful words, and you can see why they got rid of him. Now, Kamala's out, like, she's all stoked, and she's bragging about this. She goes, registrations for white dudes for Kamala have now surpassed 75,000. The energy surrounding the campaign is unheard of. The person posting this, Charlie Kirk, says, wait, can we do a white men for Trump group now? No, you're missing the point. It's the fact that Kamala somehow now knows the difference between sexes, right? What's a woman? What's a man? How can you talk about how many men you have? You don't even know what that is. That could be a bunch of women that feel masculine today. We don't know what that number represents anyways, do we? So, again, why would we care about some dudes that, like, think Kamala's awesome? Now, I want to point this out because I think this is part of the game that they're pushing right now. They're creating big time the scare. They finally got it figured out. It seems the bird flu is the one they're going to try to roll with. Probably because it's easiest to spread, I would think, because not everybody is near livestock, but everybody's near birds in some way, shape, or form. Right? They're flying around, pigeons and all that crap. No pun intended. Pandemic 2.0. FDA is going to grant the emergency use authorization. We've talked about this for the mRNA bird flu shots, just like what happened with COVID. Now, the medical establishment is teeing up the launch of this new pandemic drug. And they're already giving an emergency use authorization. There's like literally not even 11 people or something that have it. I don't think anyone's died even from it yet. But they've managed to make a teeny bit of noise. And now they're going to create a shot, mRNA technology, and they're going to talk a lot of people into getting it. They're going to give it away for free. So you're going to get a huge number, however many they buy, millions, few, probably million, whatever. They're going to get a number of people, hopefully not as many as they expect, but we'll see. These people are going to start to create spike proteins and then start to shed them. And then other people around them are going to start to come down with some form of the bird flu, I guess. Some form of human mutated version, because now it's gone through a human and it's being spiked and shed as a human. This is how they're going to do it. They're going to make it sound like the problem already exists, so you need to do this in order to fix the problem, but the problem won't exist. It doesn't exist, like 11 people, if that. But they're going to make it sound like it's hundreds, that it's coming to a theater near you. And so the scared, the most brainwashed amongst us will go and get it done. It's going to destroy things, possibly, again. We'll see. The national debt's $35 trillion right now. Total amount of outstanding borrowing is $35 trillion. It just hit $35 trillion. We're going down $1 trillion in unrealized losses, interest. We're hitting that in less than 100 days now. This system cannot keep going the way it's going. It is going to crash in some way, shape, or form. Elon Musk's talking about it. Just another FYI that government spending is driving America bankrupt. I've got a story coming up how Biden's already trying to pass another $1.7 trillion, I think it's trillion, in defense spending. It might just be billions, and he's trying to just give it straight to Ukraine. I got to remember, we'll get there. We'll get to the story. But he's already trying to spend more money to help that war continue, but we got to stop this Israel thing. The Palestinians, man, they need a place where they can rearm and attack Israel again like they always do. Like, this is so insane what they're trying to do right now. Now, I'm not saying we should genocide either side, frankly, but this is a very complex issue that's happening in Israel and with our economy. It's going down hard, folks. We don't know when exactly, but if you're waiting to try to get right there to the edge before it happens, and then you're going to go ahead and pull the pin, and you're going to get out of their system, tax-free and penalty-free, by the way. If you're waiting until that moment, you're probably going to miss it. I almost guarantee it. That's just one of those things. This is one of those things where you want to be out in front of it, even if it, maybe the stock went a teeny bit higher. But we know right now from buying power, with inflation taken into account, stocks are actually flat and actually going down because inflation's going up and stocks are kind of flat and haven't gotten back to the highs they were at, a few years back. They're still below the highs they were at. And the value of money has gone down drastically because of inflation. Precious metals have always been a protection from that. And right now, precious metals, or at least essentially since March, precious metals are way ahead of the game. Their prices have gone up higher and faster than inflation, which means they're actually creating additional buying power. You're making wealth with it. Nothing else is doing that. Bitcoin, yes, and precious metals. You can't get out of an IRA or a 401k into Bitcoin right now. There's just not a way to do that. And again, it's still a little sketch, but like Trump was saying, you can't sell it once you got it. So what's the point? Gold, you can actually swap out when the price is whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. It's not, you know what I mean? It's perfect to do. It's very liquid. Bitcoin's something you kind of park wealth in and hold on to it and just hope it goes up in value. And then if you need to, or if something happens, that's when you try to pull it out. But if too many people pull it out at one time, it destroys the price. It's kind of similar with supply and demand with gold, probably too, but nonetheless, you back currencies with it. All said, it is a safe and awesome way to go, and people right now, their portfolios are going way up, including buying power. And we've got a lot of people that are sitting in the old 401k dollar system that are losing wealth every day. Every day, inflation's taking a bite out of that. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Fill out the 4 data points. They're going to get back to you very quickly, and you can start to move forward in this process. You don't want to wait until the bumps start happening because that's when you take another hit in your value. Right now, your wealth's probably about as good as it's going to get. Get out of that system. The dollar's only losing value every single day with inflation, maybe at only a 3% rate relative to a year ago. But it was a year ago was really high, and we're still above that. We haven't flattened out. We haven't gone negative. Value of money is still going down. The dollar, anyways. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Get out of them. Stop investing in what they want you to invest in and get into something that's going to actually protect you and help you make money. drslikesgold.com. My good friends at Goldco help you out. Attorney General Andrew Bailey has put this out. So Libs of TikTok mentioned, even if you type out the entire word, no results autofill on Google. We're witnessing the erasure of history in real time. Unbelievable. They actually typed assassination, attempt, Trump. Nothing shows up. Nothing. Attorney General is looking into it. Elon Musk is even pointing this out. They tried to do President Donald and then President Donald Duck. President Donald Reagan? No President Donald Trump. Now, David Goshstein, or whatever the hell, Google is owned by Democrats, pretty much. Elon Musk also said they're getting themselves into a lot of trouble if they interfere with the election. And that is exactly what they're doing by not allowing search results to come forward. Dr. Roger Marshall, he's a senator, goes, why is that Google suppressing the search about Trump assassination attempt? These are all screenshots from this morning. Has there been a dramatic increase in Truman biographies in the last 2 weeks? I'll be making an official inquiry into Google this week. I look forward to their response. So again, had all sorts of different pictures. Assassination attempt on T. What, Truman? Teddy Roosevelt? The Pope? Tucker Carlson? Not possibly the other thing that we would be looking for. Assassination attempt on T.R. Truman. Assassination on T.R. Just looking that up. Trump's indictment. They got Trump's indictment in there. Like, so no matter what, they want to show you something that's going to piss you off about Trump, or you're not going to find it at all. TRU, still Truman. Trump's case, Trump's indictment, Trump's trial. How many assassination attempts? Right? Nothing, not even close. And then he types it all the way out, and 0 comes back. 0. Of course, we're going to find out here in some point. Google tells us, no, we aren't doing anything. Okay, sure you're not. There's an altered photo in this post here. They're saying, this is Facebook. They're actually threatened this person that they would just drop their ranking or whatever, so they wouldn't show up as high on the search stuff or whatever. They shared that picture of Trump doing the fight in front of the flag, that very infamous picture, and they said it was a fake photo. Now, they've since pulled back on that, too. They admit it wrongfully censored iconic photo of bleeding Trump pumping his fist after assassination attempt. This was an error. Well, errors, especially when they seem to happen often, can start to seem like election interference, can't they? It's very strange how all this is happening. Now, again, I'm going to tell you something. I've said it before. I've said it many, many times. And all I can do is just keep saying it, I guess. But Facebook, I know for sure. Instagram, I know for sure. YouTube, I know for sure, will censor information. Period. They will censor. They do censor. I put one up on my little YouTube channel that's still sort of making it. And they had taken down every bit of information. They scrubbed it everywhere that had to do with the Olympics. I played it. If you guys watch on Rumble, you saw it. YouTube, I had to trim it out, which is cool that they let me trim it. You know, I still put the video up. I don't care. If you're watching it in YouTube, you're not getting my full show. You guys should seriously come over to Rumble and check it out, or BitChute, or Odyssey, or Brighteon. Those never, ever do anything either. But if you're looking at Facebook, if you're looking at Instagram, if you're looking at probably even TikTok, I've heard they censor. I don't know at all. I don't know. I barely use it. I don't particularly like it. I actually don't browse on it. It's not fun for me. All said, these companies are definitely going to censor. It's going to get worse and worse as we head towards the day, towards the election. And part of me, like especially people that are making money on YouTube, I like one guy I watch a lot, even though I watch him on Rumble. He's complaining because they're censoring a lot of his content because he talks about UFOs and stuff like that. And he's not allowed to anymore. So his ability to live has been drastically attacked. And so what he's trying to do is go to like Patreon, which is silly. And he's going to put stuff behind a paywall. And that all that does is limit the amount of people that see your stuff. And it doesn't make the money that you would think. It's like donations. Donations, you can't run a business on donations. Extraordinarily difficult. Extraordinary. You'd have to be self-funded in other ways, and then donations would help. It's just how it works. It's the game. That's why you have to do advertising if you're going to try to make this work for itself. All said, Politico put this out. Democrats renew calls for Twitter to suspend Trump from spreading misinformation. This is back in 2020. You remember that, right? So they're like, well, you should shut this guy down. He's spreading misinformation. Well, now Democrats demand answers to why X has limited ability to follow Kamala Harris's campaign account. I don't know what X is doing, but now they're complaining because their person is having issues in some way, shape, or form, even though they tried to shut somebody down that they don't agree with. C-SPAN back in the day. Representative Nadler defends Facebook ban of former President Donald Trump. NBC News now saying Nadler urges Republicans to investigate X's restrictions on Kamala Harris's campaign account, citing censorship concerns. Huh. Now all of a sudden they're worried about censorship. Isn't that weird? Such a funny small world. Yeah, and here's where Google's like, oh, hey, no, we took no manual action. That's in quotes. No manual action. So some sort of automatic actions happened? Was it your AI was doing some filtering and you didn't manually do it? You just told the AI, hey, Trump stuff shouldn't really show up on there probably. We didn't tell it to do it. We just suggested that. But even people have used AI to try to find information about Donald Trump and it's coming back. No, got nothing, sorry. That's interesting. It's not even bothering to try to make it up. Huh. Well, we'll see how things continue to play out. But you can see what's happening. At least you guys can. They're censoring. They're going to hide. They're going to cheat. They're going to steal. We're going to cover a lot of this today. Trump counter snipers chilling text messages before the assassination attempt reveal how gunman was one step ahead of Secret Service and local law enforcement. This dude was a 20-year-old non-military trained individual that somehow was a friggin' idiot savant. I don't know how he was able to do this, and it wasn't Secret Service snipers. It was the police, local enforcement that were picking up on this dude and kind of sniffing the trail, if you will. Come to find out also, it wasn't 60 minutes before the shooting, but 90 minutes that they were following this guy around. Dan Bongino actually spent some time talking about it. 2 minutes. I think it's worth it. Check it.
But I'm telling you, there's something sinister going on here. This doesn't make any sense. Here are the actual texts. Look at the time. This is the last one first. 5:30. Remember, he's walked out on the stage a little bit after 6 o'clock. This is probably a spell check thing, an autocorrect. They have pictures of the actual kid. And look at the text from the local snipers, not the Secret Service ones. Kid learning around he's probably trying to say lurking. Kid lurking around the building we're in, the AGR building, I believe it is. I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards the stage. Keep this up. What the hell else do you need to hear? How did the Secret Service not know this? And look, the local guys, thank you to the local guys. Read the next line. This is their text, the local guys. Remember, by local, I mean not Secret Service law enforcement. If you want to notify Secret Service snipers to look out, I lost sight of him. Also a bike with a backpack sitting next to it in the rear of the building that was not seen earlier. Call into the command post and have a uniform check it out. What the hell else could you possibly want to hear? The local guys are telling you there's a suspicious dude with a rangefinder and a backpack surreptitiously hiding himself. Reach out to the command post. Secret Service guys at the scene. What else could you possibly want to hear? It gets worse. They started texting about this kid at 4:26. Trump doesn't walk out on the stage till after 6. Look at this one. Someone followed our lead and snuck in and parked by our cars, just so you know. I'm just letting you know because you see me go out with my rifle and put it in the car, so he knows you guys are up there. He's sitting in the direct right in a picnic table about 50 yards from the exit. Guy responds back, Roger that.
Yet the Secret Service completely incapable of protecting the president. I don't blame him. I blame leadership. Again, Mayorkas down to Cheadle and then down to whoever. I'm very curious who was the next that was in the know. Doubt it was strictly Cheadle. There's probably at least one more person. They had to make it look plausible. They couldn't just be blatant about it. They just kind of ignored a lot of stuff, it seems. Okay, just in case you guys were curious, did the CIA do it? Well, the CIA is telling us they didn't. They had nothing to do with it. So there you go, guys. Obviously, the CIA had nothing to do with it because the CIA told us they had nothing to do with it. The CIA, like, always tells the truth. I mean, that's what they stand for. No, they don't, right? Of course. It's as sarcastic as I can possibly be. NBC News put this out, which is just stupid. This is stupid. And it's funny. It's funnily stupid. Yeah, that's a made-up word. Trump agrees to give a victim interview to the FBI after the assassination attempt. The FBI has not tried to get any sort of discussion with Trump thus far. Apparently now they're going to talk to him after all the backlash they've gotten. And now NBC's painting it as Trump has agreed to give them a victim interview, like Trump's been blocking them all along from interviewing them. No, they never did. So again, misinformation. It's not even correct. They come after us and try to shut us down because we're ruining democracy. Yes, because this is democracy. This is their democracy. Propaganda. That is their democracy. They lie to people. They get enough people to believe something. Now a majority of everybody thinks this way, and this is democracy. Except we're not. We're a constitutional republic. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over. In fact, I finally realized I said some of the states are democracies, which maybe some are. I don't know. But I saw a flag of the United California or something. I don't know. It said the California Republic. And I was like, oh, cool. We're a republic also. That's right. We have a constitution. So we're also a republic as a state, which is good because that's kind of why California hasn't totally been able to remove firearms from this state because of our constitution. So also interesting factors to take into account. We're not democracies. Trump gunman planned to create a diversion with explosives to escape. This is what Mike McCall has said. I'm just glad he's finally saying it. I don't know. I said it as soon as I saw the pictures of the detonator device. And I'm like, well, then that was obviously supposed to be his distraction, and he was going to use that to get away. Duh. Like what? Of course. That's why you would blow up your car from a distance. Makes sense. So I'm glad an expert finally agrees. Trump assassination attempt. The FBI says gunman climbed an HVAC unit and then traversed the rooftop to his shooting perch. So not only is this dude like SEAL level, as far as his abilities, but apparently he's also Spider-Man. He traversed an HVAC unit and then somehow walked across the roof carefully, like across little beams or something to get across. This is just gets better and better as far as I'm concerned. Trump shooter bought his guns and bomb-making materials more than a year ago, the FBI says. So a dude was buying bomb-making materials, and that instantly goes into a database. Trust me, guys, you buy anything. I would assume there's a couple key ingredients that for sure, because some of those things, like bought in small enough quantities, it's like normal. But some of those ingredients are probably very, very specific. All said, he didn't do this with manure or anything like that. So, yeah, this is just a bunch of weirdness, right? The people, FBI, they go after any one of us in a heartbeat, right? They raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago, but, they're the ones that have been behind Gretchen Whitmer's attack. They're the ones that have been behind a lot of these things, right? Come to find out, there's somebody that they found with the geofencing that went to this Crooks's work, Crooks's home, and to the FBI location in Washington, D.C. There was definitely, from indirect evidence, but definitely was people involved. And now we're supposed to believe the FBI and say, well, your investigation showed that he's been looking into this shit for a year and you didn't have anything to do with it? Let's be honest. That's what it is. Good news, something at least. James Copenhaver, he was the second individual that was injured. He's been released from the hospital. So now both gentlemen have been released from the hospital. Unfortunate loss of the one, the Capertone. I'm probably saying his last name wrong. But that gentleman did, of course, lose his life. Trump, of course, got shot in the ear. But these two gentlemen at least are out. I assume their lives are probably changed irreparably in some way, shape, or form. But I'm glad to know they're still with us in all ways, I guess. Jake Sherman posted this, and I'm going to give you the seventh name here in a second because there's 7 Republicans and 6 Democrats. The 7th Republican is I think the head of the actual task force or the head of the committee or whatever. I want to say, I'm already forgetting his name. Mark Kelly, maybe? But whatever the case is, we'll get it. I'll pull it up. It's on the other screen. So the 6 Republicans, Mark Green, David Joyce, Laurel Lee, Michael Waltz, Clay Higgins, Pat Fallon. I'm glad Higgins is in there. He's law enforcement. I don't know anything about the other guys, really. Dems, we got Jason Crow, Lou Correa, Madeline Dean, Chrissy Houlihan, Glenn Ivey, and Jared Moskowitz. None of the names that, some of the people that wanted to be there that were horrible, that tried to take away Trump's security or tried to impeach him or things along those lines. Raskin, maybe. He wasn't allowed to be there. Thank God. Now, the seventh person is Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly, sorry. Close. But I knew I wasn't going to hold the name. There's no way. It's a name. Names and dates? No chance. Zero chance. Zero chance that I will hang on to it. I got to say it like 5,000 times, and then maybe. It's funny in like the coffee world, like I'd know your drink. I would never forget your drink or your face. I didn't remember you anywhere, but I would almost, it took a lot for me to get names. Names was tricky as hell. Tricky as hell. All said. We got some movement going in the right direction, guys. We'll see if we can keep that up. What happened here? Oh, Kamala. We got to get to the Kamala section, people. I feel like I dragged something. F this up. Veteran investigative reporter Seymour Hersh has revealed that, according to his sources, Barack Obama led a group of top Democrats in ousting Joe Biden, which culminated in threatening him to use the 25th Amendment. I still believe they're going to. I believe they're going to have to, and I think it's going to come around the money is my guesstimate. We'll see. We'll see. They might just do it anyway, shenanigans. We'll see, but I think they're going to have, they've already had legal stuff put forward, so they don't just get Joe Biden's campaign money. I think unless there's a 25th Amendment, then maybe it can transfer over to somebody. There's got to be some legalese in there, but whatever the case is, there's no easy way for Kamala Harris to get her hands on that $93 million. And how funny would that be if they weren't really able to? Because that would just be a huge, huge, huge problem for their campaign. Here's probably some moment that'll piss you off, talking about Kamala Harris being stupid. I don't know, whatever. Oh, yeah, this is decent. Check this out.
18 through 24. They are stupid.
She's not the brightest bulb in the ceiling, you know.
She's not that smart.
No, she's not smart. But we're with those young people. They're smart,
We're the young
cunning,
people.
and we're going to take them every time. We'll take them.
So Kamala thinks 18 to 24-year-olds are stupid, even though there's probably very few of them watching my show. Still, not cool, right? Not cool. I hated that when I was younger, too, by the way. That was like, when I was able to grow facial hair, like I tried to grow it just so I'd look older, because I got tired of, I had a young face for a long time, and then look what happened to me. Fuck. But still, there was a good period of time there where I got carded everywhere, which was fun. Those days are long behind me now. I get so excited, like you guys probably too, right? Like someone cards you and you're like, I know they're just doing it, but man, it still feels good. I don't know what it is. It's such a pain in the ass to put. You want me to pull it out of the sleeve even? Elizabeth Warren is saying Kamala Harris is going to grant citizenship to the millions of illegal immigrants inside our country. I believe we need to create a pathway to citizenship. Kamala Harris will work with Congress to get that done. That's what they're hoping. I don't think they've got the votes, though. I think there's too many people that are pissed off about what's happening at the border and the way that the Democrats are handling it. And honestly, I don't know when Elizabeth is up for re-election. She's in the House, right? So I don't know how solid her position is either at this point. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Al Gore endorses Kamala Harris. Guy looks pudgy, doesn't he? He really did put on some serious weight. He was much, much more trim and slim when he was vice president 100 years ago. That's the kind of climate champion we need in the White House, he's saying, Kamala Harris, because she's a total patsy. She's absolute idiot. She's not in charge. She's going to do exactly what the progressives want. She is uber progressive, especially compared to Joe Biden. Probably had a lot to do with Joe Biden going as far left as he did. Gretchen Whitmer says Harris is likely going to announce the running mate within 6 to 7 days. Why is it Gretchen Whitmer that's reporting this, though? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. That's so strange. Almost like wondering if it's her, which would be kind of borderline awesome, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I think Gavin Newsom's still kind of hoping. He's got that perfect award-winning smile. I don't know if those are fake teeth or what. Like, what do they call those, veneers or whatever the shit? I don't know if there are or if he just bleaches the hell out of his teeth, but well, some of the corruption that's going around that might be fun for you to be aware of. We got this, for example. Ukraine was apparently the largest donor to the Clinton Foundation from 1999 until 2014. Just in 2008 alone, the Clintons received around $37.6 million from Viktor Pinchuk Foundation, which is based in Kiev, Ukraine. I'm sure there's no connection, right? I mean, there's no way. I mean, that's where her servers were that supposedly got hacked. That CrowdStrike looked at them up there, but never really told us. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure it's not right. The CIA they weren't behind J13 because they told us they weren't. So obviously, if Hillary tells us no, it was all on the up and up, then of course it was. I mean, oh, guys, ye have little faith. Of course I'm joking. I hope you know that. DC Drano, didn't Virginia elect a Republican attorney general? Will at Jason Mayares, Virginia, prosecute this Act Blue money laundering and protect VA's exploited citizens? Or will the one-term politician, is that what he's going to be? And what he's talking about, he's calling out someone that's maybe moderately deep state, maybe, or giving him a chance to do the right thing. But this has to do with that Act Blue and how they will just borrow people's information and then do donations on their behalf. They don't charge them per se, but they're doing it on their behalf. That's illegal, first off. But there's one example. There's one individual that has been 22,619 separate donations since 2019. Just if you broke down per day, how many per day that is, that's a crap ton. It's totaling more than $800,000. Obviously, this chick is not donating that kind of money. Yet this is happening. This is illegal. This is how they launder dark money. We need some of these patriots that exist as attorney generals, certainly, and this is the state it's happening in, I think, at least with this particular chick. And it's obvious, right? It's like, this is obviously fraud. All you have to do is just ask her a couple questions. She'd be like, I haven't donated $800,000. You see the house I'm living in? No, you're nuts. I don't even have that kind of money. That's called illegal. Act Blue should probably be shut down because what they do is pretty damn illegal. Attorney General Andrew Bailey is saying, I am filing suit against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for refusing to turn over documents about the flying of illegal immigrants into Missouri. We have reason to believe they are deliberately flying illegal aliens from the border into our cities. Not on my watch. I love it. What's happened to Ken Paxton, by the way? What is going on? Is he embroiled in something else? I have not seen him do anything cray-cray lately. I don't understand what's going on. Someone talk to him. Ken, get on it, buddy. Come on, I want to see some more shit come from you. Or hopefully you're working on something big. How about that? I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You're getting the benefit of the doubt, of course, but quiet lately is all. Pelosi's top security aide got warning about the Capitol breach the night before. The night before, the biggest ever thing happened where they didn't have enough police, didn't have National Guard, didn't have, things they should have had. And Nancy Pelosi was like, it was my fault. And there's video of her saying that. She's like trying to walk that back, but it's like, you said it. I mean, if you want to provide the full recording, feel free, Nancy. We'd love to hear all of that. That'd be fantastic, all the crazy crap you probably talked about inside that car. So Nancy Pelosi seems to be even more involved in January 6th than she already admitted to. Isn't that interesting? Without pre-canvassing, Pennsylvania is expected to experience delays in announcing election results this year, potentially repeating issues from 2020. Philadelphia officials are, quote, better prepared, but anticipate that tight races may still lead to delays of 1 or more days. Still don't know how many votes we're going to need to print. So, yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of governors and stuff. Like, we got races going on that, maybe we can't print enough ballots to make Harris win, but like our governor or senators, they're still going to try to cheat. Come on, we know that. We know that. All right, we've got some cray going on in the world right now. Here's one example. This is escalations, I am assuming. Oh, yeah, this is Britain. And tongue-in-cheek, prayers for sure for the individuals that have been injured and killed. This is horrific. 2 children are killed, 8 others critically wounded from a knife attack in Southport, UK. Suspect not named. Probably someone that came across illegally, someone from some place that doesn't belong there. Also, again, another example of how, getting rid of guns, okay. They're still going to stab people. Will we get rid of knives now? Okay, they're going to bash someone with a rock. Like, we're going to get rid of rocks. It's the evil in people's hearts will find a way no matter what. Cain didn't have a gun, but he sure managed to beat the hell out of Abel with a rock. That's all it took. Just needed some evil in his heart. Just some evil in his heart. Department of Justice has sentenced 3 men to prison for their years-long plan to destroy a power grid in the northwestern United States. The extremist suspects were connected to the neo-Nazi paramilitary group that studied at length how to take out power substations by using automatic rifles in Idaho and surrounding states. They're trying to make it sound like these dudes are right-leaning. Anyone that's like an eco-terrorist, I have a hard time believing they're conservative. I just do. They might be in the military. They might, be, quote, neo-Nazis, but you can be so Nazi that you start to go far left. A good example, the brown shirts, right? The Azov Battalion. These guys are basically neo-Nazis. So hardcore left, right? That whole extremes, they start to bend back around on each other. It's very interesting. All stated. We got some bad guys. They're going to get some jail time. They apparently weren't able to pull this off. They had a lot going on. 2 of them were actually in the military while they were planning this, which is pretty darn crazy. We've got escalations going on in Lebanon. Obviously, this war is going to peel further, and they're telling and warning people in the U.S. embassies to either shelter in place or GTFO. Get the F out.
We recommend U.S. citizens develop a crisis plan of action and leave before a crisis begins. Regularly scheduled commercial transportation is always the best option while local communications and transportation infrastructure are intact and operating normally. Please make sure that your U.S. passports are valid for at least 6 months. If not, you should make an appointment to renew your U.S. passport through the U.S. Embassy website. Should commercial air not be available, individuals already in Lebanon should be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time. And finally, if your relatives are planning to visit you in Lebanon this summer, please strongly encourage them to reconsider their travel, given the difficulties that would hinder departure should conflict increase in the region. Preparation is key to crisis preparedness, and I hope you will take a moment to follow up on these steps so that we can help you keep you and your family safe.
I think she needs more stuff on her neck, more necklace type stuff. Don't you guys? Don't you think? I think she needs a little more going on. Something. Maybe like a turtleneck and then put all that stuff on the outside of it just to give it even more neck. What's this crazy picture behind, by the way? Probably a famous picture in some weird way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I don't know. Crazy looking. Something's weird about that. All said. Yeah. Lebanon's not a good place to go right now. North Korea's mulling nuclear test around U.S. elections. Make a point, I guess, or I don't know. They're going to try to do a nuclear test. I believe when Donald Trump was in office, we blew up one of their mountains, or one of their mountains had a really, really bad earthquake and could no longer be used for nuclear testing. Maybe they did it themselves. It's entirely possible. They might have done a test that literally like imploded their whole chamber that they had. They're going to do another test, apparently. U.S. and Japan announced a new military command structure. They're going to be working together, kind of focusing against China. I would assume also trying to help with the Philippines, or the Philippines, as they would say. So there's probably a little bit of all those things going on. Also, South Korea is also working with this kind of general group, but the U.S. and Japan specifically kind of tightening it up, which I think is a good thing, probably, in the big picture. Okay, $1.7 billion lethal aid package still. Biden administration announces new $1.7 billion lethal aid package for Ukraine. So more spending, more spending, or I don't know if this is part of the original budget. Announced new lethal aid package. That makes it seem like it's new money, but whatever. U.S. is committing $1.5 billion in new weapons and equipment, yada, yada, yada. We're going to keep shoving stuff over there and trying to kill more people because that's, fun. That's a good thing. That's what we should do. Okay, some of the antics that the deep state's involved in right now that we need to keep in mind going into where we're at in our history and where we're at relative to elections and all these things. So what has been said about the automated voting platform? This is Smartmatic's page here. This Luis Emilio Rondon, he's the main rector? I don't even know. I didn't even know her. Of the Venezuela National Electrical Council. He's the rector? What the fuck is that? Anyway, Smartmatic's voting machines are used in U.S. elections. Venezuela also uses the company to run its elections. Smartmatic even includes praise from the director of Venezuela's National Electoral Council in its promotional material. Nothing to see here at all. Nothing to see here at all. Why does that matter? Because of what's happening. Now, we're getting there. There's major problems with the elections in Venezuela. Let's just tease it a little bit. Also, interesting information that was posted by Stormcloud. Goes, yo, check out this timeline. He really is correct on the timeline. He goes, attempt. The attempt, right? The thing against Trump. What's the ear shooting, right? So attempt happened. Then Trump did the Nessun Dorma ending of his rally. It was like the Saturday after or whatever, or shortly after, Sunday, maybe? Monday? I don't know, shortly after. It was the shooting was on Saturday, I believe. Then the CrowdStrike thing happened, which is on all of the voting software, and broke a bunch of the voting software, the things that aren't connected to the internet. The CrowdStrike auto updated and broke those machines, the ones that aren't connected to the internet that couldn't possibly have that update come through without them being connected to the internet. The EVM BSOD, so this is the electronic voting machines, something. I don't know what the BSOD, you guys can help me on that one. Put that in the chat below, those of you that know, and hit the thumbs up too, please, if you guys like and want to support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't. It's always super important to get that subscribe button and that bell notification too. If you want to make sure you're immediately notified once I upload and it's finally available, that's a good way to go about it too. The EVM cheat, so the electronic voting machine cheat, not working in the friggin' home of Dominion, which I think the home of Dominion is Venezuela. That's where it started. Their cheat wasn't working. And now Maduro seizes the malfunctioning electronic voting machines. Maduro, and we'll get to it, lost badly, but refuses to step aside. In fact, claimed he's the winner by a barely small vote. We'll get to it. So Nicolas Maduro has now activated the Venezuelan military to block people from voting. This was a little prior. We're going to kind of run through the timeline, if you will, a little bit. So initially, he throws all these people in there to block and intimidate and threaten anybody that was trying to vote, because it was so overwhelmingly against him, Maduro, the dictator. He's been there since 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. So he doesn't like the fact that he's going to be taken out of power by a very, very popular movement. In fact, it's funny how that kind of played out too. We'll see if we need to play it or not. At least in Venezuela, it's easy to recognize fraud. The same type of criminal election theft happens in the U.S., but we call it secure election because the theft happens electronically and behind closed doors. This is literally a video of a dude coming in and stealing the box of votes. Literally just stole the votes. That's far from not cool, right? So that's how they're rolling down there. Marco Rubio put this out in both Spanish and English. After announcing a complete fraud in the election, expect the Maduro regime will now begin to black out the internet inside of Venezuela to make it difficult for those inside to communicate with each other and to the world. Elon Musk, shame on dictator Maduro. Talking about what he's doing down there. And this is President Milei has released a statement. Dictator Maduro, get the hell out. He says Argentina is no way going to actually support him. Here's Javier Milei's statement. Venezuelans chose to end the communist dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro. The data announces a crushing victory for the opposition, and the world is waiting for it to recognize defeat after years of socialism, misery, decadence, and death. Argentina is not going to recognize another fraud and hopes that the armed forces this time will defend democracy and the popular will. Freedom advances in Latin America. Well done. Elon Musk, I think the risk of this is very real, and he's talking about what Gunther Eagleman said. The United States will become Venezuela if Trump is not elected. It's basically true. They already want to change the courts. They want to do all that. We are done. And again, even if they cheat, like they did in Venezuela, doesn't mean we give up. Doesn't mean we roll over. Doesn't mean it's over. Doesn't. Look at how far we've come since 2020. Look at how close we were back in 2020 of actually making things happen. We're not letting them take this country. Period. It's just not going to happen. It's an information war, too. Don't get all too crazy, guys, all right? It's an information war. Let's continue the memes. We even got Gavin Newsom trying to make them illegal. Pretty funny. So English-speaking friends, what happened today in Venezuela? The opposition went to an election with unfavorable conditions. The main opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, was banned from participating in the elections. Her political party faced persecution, arrest, and kidnappings by the regime. Nevertheless, the opposition managed to present a candidate, Ambassador Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, who had the support of Maria Corina Machado. Maria Corina Machado became the first most popular leader in Venezuela. So popular that although Edmundo Gonzalez was not well known, when he received Machado's support, he immediately became the favorite in the polls. Kind of like when Trump says yes to somebody, they immediately do much better. So on election day, millions of Venezuelans turned out to vote. There is talk of a historic turnout of 60% of the electoral roll. It is necessary to consider that more than 8 million Venezuelans had to leave their country and were unable to vote. Exit polls showed a resounding victory for the Venezuelan opposition. At least 65% of the votes for Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia and only 31% for Nicolas Maduro. The day was plagued with irregularities, polling centers that did not open, intimidations by violent Chavista groups. There was even one dead and several wounded in a Chavista attack to a polling station. After midnight, and against absolutely all electoral forecasts, the electoral authority of the regime, the CNE, announced that Nicolas Maduro won by 51% of the votes. The regime was committing its most grotesque fraud to date. Within the hour, Maria Corina Machado spoke. She denounced the fraud. She said that the numbers they handle are as follows. Edmundo Gonzalez, 70%. Nicolas Maduro, 30%. Machado said, "People, today we have a new elected president, and his name is Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia." She assured that they will defend the will of all Venezuelans. Immediately, there was an international condemnation of Maduro. The governments of Chile, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Panama, Argentina did not recognize the results announced by the regime. More pronouncements and condemnations are expected in the coming hours. This is a major loss, one, for the deep state, and they tried desperately. And it's one more example. Venezuela's got a lot of oil, and the deep state's been using that oil, working with Iran through Venezuela and Cuba. It is very tied in with China even right now. It not being a dictator is going to be a huge problem for the deep state. A huge problem. Thousands of Venezuelans have gathered around military headquarters demanding them to step in and stop Nicolas Maduro's fraudulent election. It's going to be very interesting to see how they respond, if they respond, what they respond with. But people are not just standing idly by. Not anymore, anyways. I want you guys to think about the health, not only of your animals, but of also yourself, by the way. There's this mushroom, and there's all these studies and reviews of this product, by the way, but there's all these studies, over 400 of them, that talk about the effectiveness of this mushroom, and it's called Coriolus versicolor. And it's actually got some anti-cancer components to it. Again, it's interesting how it's worked. There's numerous studies, but it's also got some things that have helped improve the health, certainly in animals. And they've just a bunch of different studies. Now, we've got some great reviews. Maggie, again, 7-year-old American Bulldog, was having seizures and developing kidney problems, but she is feeling much better after enjoying the mush puppies. Now, here's some of the things that are fun about these mush puppies. One, they have that mushroom in them. Two, that mushroom helps remove some of the chemicals that are in our dogs' bodies. And a lot of that's from the same thing that we get chemicals from in our lives, from food. So the food we feed them, sometimes it's that cheap stuff, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's got a lot of chemicals and artificial stuff in it. You should always look at the brands that you've got and understand that, well, our toys are made in China in most cases too, and they use lead and all sorts of crazy stuff. So there's a lot of things that our dogs are getting that these guys are trying to help you with. Of course, danradiostyle.petclub247.com, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Just amazing products. We'll get there. But Maggie's one example. The mush puppies are just like a little treat. It's an easy way to give them to them. They've got like a squeeze liquid version of this that if you've got like good food you're already giving your dogs, you can put that on top of their good food and then make sure they're getting those mushrooms at least once a day or once every other day or however you want to try to approach it. But you're going to probably notice, much like these people, significant benefits in your own animals. They've also got foods, dry grain, freeze-dried. They've got canned, delicious food for dogs. They've got toys. They got antler sticks, which when you think about it, it's like made up of what, calcium or whatever's in those things. So your dogs are chewing down their teeth like they're supposed to. They're using a toy that doesn't have chemicals in it, and it's actually got minerals that's helping your dog. All those things work out, and your dog's stoked. It doesn't care that it's an antler stick. It doesn't. In fact, it probably loves it. And it'll probably go and have a blast with it and be stoked you're giving it to him. And it doesn't need to go squeak, squeak. Now, you can maybe get a couple squeaky toys if you have to, but that's not what they are experts with. Those are plastic and rubber and all that. That's where a lot of these chemicals are. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Like Bonnie, 3-year-old Rottweiler, that had a sore on her eye that would not go away until she tried mush puppies. Again, Scout, 11-year-old Scout is feeling better than ever because of the mush puppies. Now, again, they have other wonderful products. I don't want to take that away from you. They do. But the mush puppies are the easiest way to get started. And just check them out. They're actually not expensive or anything like that. But it's the easiest way to get started for your dogs and cats. The mush puppies. There's Plus. It's got a little extra stuff in there. One of the additional mushroom. But the regular mush puppies. Right there, it's like a treat. The dogs are going to love it. They're getting that mushroom. That's that one time a day. The super sauce is that stuff I was saying you could put on top of their food. You can go a couple different ways you want. They got the super sauce for cats, for dogs. They've got Mojos, which are treats. You got those for cats and dogs. They've also got mush ponies. So if you've got a pony, they've got a horses tab. They've got 2 products for the ponies, but the mush ponies, horse cakes with Coriolis for singular mushroom. And they come in all sorts of different payment options. You can buy, like a giant amount or a little bit amount, depending. If you just got one horse and you go see him every day and give him one mush pony, that's probably fine, right? You just get one of those bags. But if you've got like a stable that's got like 12 of these things, well, you might want to get the bigger batch. They got an $1,800 one. I don't know what's in there, but that's for you guys with horses. They've also got a humans tab. And I've been using the products. They've got gummies. They've got just a pill you can take. I've been sleeping better at night. In fact, it's funny. I've forgotten to take it for like 2 days now. And I realize I haven't slept good for the last 2 days. It's kind of funny. It's made a difference. I've also remembered my dreams. It's just a weird set of benefits that you get from this. Now, I'm taking it because I smoked for a long time. So I just feel like it's something good to kind of make sure I'm helping keep things healthy inside my own body. Getting older too, right? All of us. So go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Got stuff that can help out your animals stay with you longer because they don't live long enough. And you've also got stuff that can help you live longer and live healthier without having to do anything radical or use any of the crazy pharma stuff. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Of course, not giving any medical advice, anything along those lines. These are excellent products. There's over 400 studies. Try it out and you'll see. Perfectly healthy. They're mushrooms. You can't get sick from them. They're fantastic. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. We got to protect ourselves, folks, because they're trying to come at us hard, and we know that. All right, Biden and Harris are debuting their plan to overhaul the Supreme Court, and their focus is on limiting Trump's powers. They don't like the immunity thing, have issues with the fact that the deep state's not gotten their wishes from the Supreme Court, that they've actually followed the Constitution, so they think they should have limits on how often or how long they can stay in office. I want to say it was, like 18 years or something like that every 2 years they should be swapping out one of the Supreme Court justices is kind of how they foresee it. And again, it's because they want control. They haven't been able to force their will, they haven't been able to use their democracy against us because we have a constitution. We're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. And they haven't been able to win. You know who's not above the law, by the way? Because they talk about Trump. Nobody's above the law. Nobody's above the law, right? And this is kind of what they wanted to change in the Supreme Court. And I didn't spend a lot of time on it. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. So just for those of you that are like, wait, you could have explained that more. No need to. But you know who... they say no one's above the law. Well, here's a couple examples of people that seem to be above the law. Hillary Clinton, she's above the law. Barack Obama, above the law. Hunter Biden, above the law. Merrick Garland, above the law. Joe Biden, above the law. Tish James, above the law. Adam Schiff, above the law. Just to name a few. Mike Davis put this statement out, another senator, I believe. It was my statement on Biden-Harris scheme to destroy the Supreme Court. Our mentally incompetent president is making unconstitutional demands for more senior conservative Supreme Court justices to step aside, ignoring our Constitution's lifetime tenure that ensures judicial independence. Our corrupt president is making unconstitutional demands for an illegal ethics regime to use bogus pretexts like patriotic flag flying by a conservative justice's wife to selectively disqualify Supreme Court justices in his way. And our president, who politicized and weaponized his Justice Department to destroy his political opponent, now wants to destroy the Supreme Court, who stopped him. And his vice president aided and abetted him every step of the way. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are beholden to the radical left-wing elements of their party. Their alleged reforms are just one step towards the ultimate goal of packing the Supreme Court to guarantee decisions favorable to Democrats. The Biden-Harris proposed radical assault on judicial independence is the gravest threat imaginable to our republic. Biden and Harris are now plotting to destroy another branch of government simply because it is in their way. Biden is a broken man, winding down his failed presidency. Harris is now the de facto president after her bloodless coup against Biden. Both are the dictator and danger to democracy they project onto their political opponents. Biden should thank his lucky stars, the Supreme Court, that he is now attempting to destroy, will rescue him from the Trump 47 Justice Department. Both Biden and Harris are a disgrace, and the January 20th cannot come soon enough. That's so true. Speaker Johnson put this out in regards to all this nonsense. President Biden's proposal to radically overhaul the U.S. Supreme Court would tilt the balance of power and erode not only the rule of law, but the American people's faith in our system of justice. This proposal is the logical conclusion to the Biden-Harris administration's and congressional Democrats' ongoing efforts to delegitimize the Supreme Court. Their calls to expand and pack the court will soon resume. It is telling that Democrats want to change the system that has guided our great nation since its founding simply because they disagree with some of the court's recent decisions. This dangerous gambit of the Biden-Harris administration is dead on arrival in the House. Now, Axios put this out. Biden left Congress in the dark on the Supreme Court reforms. He didn't talk to any of these people. He just puts out this post, this press thing, which probably wasn't written by him anyway, and then that's it. Not going to try to middleman this, not going to try to grease the palms to make sure this gets through, not doing anything. So this isn't going anywhere. This is just, they're saying, to amass some votes, which is probably true. Now, Gavin Newsom, he wants to make memes illegal. Said manipulating a voice in an ad like this one should be illegal. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is. And of course, Elon Musk not missing an opportunity to call him a tool, which is always fun to call any, especially a grown male, a tool. That is just fun as hell. But this is, again, their attempt. We must take away your constitutional rights because I don't like what you're doing. It's causing confusion, as they would say. Now, again, there's a lot of AI stuff, and I don't know how we're going to face this as a society, because if you knowingly put something out that's false and misleading, and you're intentionally trying to lead people in a false way, that's sort of dangerous. But then there's that side of it that's like, well, if you're kind of dumb enough to follow someone over the edge, then all right? So there's always those fine lines, and you know, my assessment, anyways, and I'm like so hardcore freedom, like way more than most people. Like I think freedom's I'm free to do whatever I want. I answer to karma and God. I mean, that's it. I try really hard to behave properly because if I misbehave, things happen in my life almost immediately that suck, and then I'm like, all right, I get it. I shouldn't do that, and live and learn, you know? So it's much easier just to stay in line and do what's right by the universe. Former BBC news reader, which I like the fact that they actually call them what they are, a news reader. It's like what I am. I'm a news reader. Caster, I guess, kind of similar. But former BBC news reader Hugh Edwards has been charged with making indecent images of children. Yeah, another perv going down hardcore. 62-year-old resigned from the BBC in April. He was supposedly one of the highest paid individual, making, they were saying, a little over £475,000, which I don't know what the exact, it's probably over $1 million US. I think their conversion is, I think that's quite a bit of money. Probably more than that. I don't even know. Here's New York Times putting this out. It's Silicon Valley versus Silicon Valley. Yeah, it's a bunch of people are starting to come out now. A bunch of wealthy people are starting to come out in favor of Trump because, yeah, everybody sees what's happening. And the deep state people, they're going to ride this until they die. The ones that were like playing the game, but, don't mess with me and I'll probably just keep going along with whatever, just keep feeding us contracts and stuff. Well, a lot of those guys are like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. The conscience becomes an important thing. So we've got Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman, and other tech billionaires show up in this. Who are the other ones? Mr. Horowitz and Mr. Andreessen, Mr. Sachs as well, I guess. So yeah, some good people. Some people, wealthy people coming forward. Mark Meadows seeks Supreme Court intervention in bid for immunity from the Georgia election subversion prosecution. He should definitely have immunity, especially who he was. So we'll see. We'll see if they pick it up or if they don't. There's just so many of these things that are being appealed and pushed up and blah, blah, blah. And then so many things that don't ever go anywhere. Something interesting, just a very strange place to end here. But there's this guy, Sudden and Unexpected, shared this today. And he's talking about Alzheimer's. And one of the causes of Alzheimer he's suggesting, said first off, Alzheimer's didn't really exist in people 40 years ago. He says, and now it is the number 4 killer of people in the USA over age 65. He goes, what is Alzheimer's disease? Well, it is the disappearing of your brain's insulation. The myelin, what is myelin made out of? It is made from cholesterol. So the myelin inside your brain, which is what kind of helps with thoughts and being able to allow to have multiple thoughts and not, stacking them kind of nicely, essentially writing them, if you will. Well, it requires cholesterol to do that. Now, what they've started to see a correlation in is if you're someone that goes on a low cholesterol diet or cholesterol medication, it is the fastest way to Alzheimer's, they're suggesting in this study. This is what he's talking about, that a lot of these cholesterol medications are likely stripping us of the cholesterol within the myelin or stripping us of cholesterol to make myelin so we can continue to operate. And that could very well be why so many people are not doing better. Cholesterol is a funny thing too. By the way, there's some healthier cholesterols, there's some healthier fats, there's very unhealthy ones. And so again, there's a lot to learn about it. The saturated fats raise your cholesterol and not in a kind of a good way. Animal meats have like natural cholesterol in them and some saturated fats. Those are kind of generally a healthier way to go. But then you've got your monounsaturated, like avocado, or monosaturated, sorry. And that's extraordinarily healthy. Like your omegas and all that stuff start to come out of some of these sources. So there's a lot to learn. They've been very black and white and broad brush when it comes to diet, but the reality is each one of us reacts differently to everything. Some of us are allergic to some things, some of us aren't. Some of us have problems with gluten, some don't, right? So there's kind of like listen to your body, because there's a really good book, and I'm not 100% on board with it, but I kind of see a lot of, I feel like the foods they put in it for my blood type weren't necessarily the foods that react well in my body per se. So I kind of felt like that was a little strange. But the discussion about how each one of us and our blood types, certain foods affect us differently than other people. And so you've got to listen to your body and try to eat better. And a lot of these issues that we face are strictly from what we ingest. A lot of us ingest a lot of processed foods, chemical foods, foods that are fast, that are horrible for us. So we've got to kind of keep in mind the bigger picture in what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the deep state from successfully killing us early. And they're propagandizing to many people all these horrible things. So we've got a big war. We've got the 3 crazy corrupt people, Barack, Kamala, and Joe, if he's still alive even, all working very hard to destroy this country as quickly as possible. They still aren't managing to move the needle much. In fact, it seems they're losing ground quickly. We've got a lot. This is going to be an exciting bit of time, and they're going to figure out that their desperation needs to kick it up a notch soon, too. DRSlikesgold.com. Don't wait, folks. I've got a lot of people that are starting to hop in, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are seriously getting serious about it, because we don't know how much further it's got to go. But there's just a few bad news cycles that could change a lot in this world. And this election thing's also kind of interesting, what's going on down in Venezuela. So keep fighting the fight, guys. Keep making the ripples. Keep talking about stuff, and be protected, be prepared, be healthy, be all these things. Be positive. Think about a brighter tomorrow. Imagine that. Fantasize about it, because that's what we're creating. You and I are creating this together. It's called co-creation. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.